Hello, and we're back for another video. Today I thought I'd cover actually a question that I get asked a lot, which is, what do vegans eat? So let's start with number one, what vegans don't eat. So that's no meat, no poultry, included in that no fish, which includes no shellfish, no eggs, no dairy products of any kind, so no cheese, no milk, no butter, no ghee, no yogurt, none of that, and also no honey. I think that's everything. Oh, and so that no meat also extends to things like no gelatin, which is in a lot of things like marshmallows, a lot of sort of sweets like Haribo and stuff. They tend to have gelatin, and so none of that either because it's derived from usually beef or pork. So that's what we don't eat. And usually when I list off those things, people's eyes go a little bit hazy and they look a bit scared. So number two, what do vegans actually eat? So I imagine it can be what it was to me. It is quite scary when you're raised in the Western world and dinner is sort of like a meat or a fish and like some potatoes and maybe another vegetable. It's why it's called meat and two veg. Meat, two vegetables. And it was intimidating to me to begin with, because what do you eat when you've been raised all your life to say you're going to have a steak, chips and maybe some peas for dinner, or fish fingers, chips and beans was one of my long-term favourites as a child. So it's scary, I understand that, but so it's a long list of what vegans don't eat, but sorry, I'm just pulling up the list that I made on my phone. But that leaves a whole host of foods that are available to vegans. So you can eat any fruit, any vegetable, or beans, or lentils, or nuts and seeds. Obviously this is all pending allergies, but overall you can eat anything. So that also includes things like we can eat breads, we can eat pastas, we can eat rice. Obviously there are some pastas and some breads that vegans can't eat because they're made with maybe an enriched dough, or they've had eggs added, or they've been brushed with butter. But generically speaking, pasta fine, bread's fine, it's all good. So I guess, that's the overall view of what vegans do eat. But what does that mean? So you can't eat milk. What do you have instead? So there are a ton of non-dairy milks available these days in your average supermarket. So you've got soy milk, which is the most common and been around for years, and you've also got almond milk, coconut milk, cashew milk, hazelnut milk, oat milk, and rice milk. I think that's all that I can think of off the top of my head, which is absolutely tons. They all tend to be available in sort of like 1 litre cartons that you get in the supermarket. They'll be near the sort of long life aisle, in the long life aisle. Some of them are in the sort of the fresh sort of fridge section, usually a smaller selection, but usually a bigger selection in the long life aisle, which includes Oatly chocolate milk, which is like my favourite thing in the world. There's your milk substitutes. You can't eat cheese, so okay, what do you have instead of cheese? Again, supermarkets these days tend to stock a substitute. Tesco's has two, I think. They've got like a strong and like a mild cheddar, and they've also got a cream cheese. There's a brand called Violife, which tends to be the most readily available brand. They do like a cheddar. They also do loads of other stuff, but in my supermarket, the Violife they have is just the cheddar one. So yeah, there's also artisan brands that do like cashew-based cheeses. Like they tend to be like a softer one, and they're like spreadable on crackers and things. So they're really good because the supermarket ones tend to be derived from soy or rice. But I've noticed that the artisan ones tend to be more cashew-based. I don't know why. It's just the way that it is. I think you can even make it yourself, but let's not go into that in this video. So supermarket versions, there you go. Another brilliant thing if you like sort of like cheesy Moorish flavour is nutritional yeast flakes, which sounds disgusting, looks kind of weird as well because it really is flakes, but oh my god, you sort of just sprinkle them on, well I sprinkle them on everything, but you can like sprinkle them on top of pasta, on salads, on jacket potatoes, and you get this like cheese-ish taste. Okay, so you can't eat eggs, so what do you substitute instead of eggs? There is no sort of like-for-like egg substitute. Like if you want a dippy egg, like a soft-boiled egg in the morning, there's no vegan version of that. You can get a vegan egg like powder that you mix with water, and I like to add a bit of black salt, which sort of gives like an eggy sort of like smell. You can mix that with water, like I said, and you can make like a scrambled egg, or you can make like an omelette. I never successfully made an omelette. I think you can also use the same stuff to make quiches and stuff. But yeah, you can also use tofu to make scrambled egg. You just buy some silken tofu, scramble it. This is me using a spatula, sorry. Yeah, so okay, the other one, not widely known as honey. We don't eat honey because it's from bees. I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, so no honey. This is an easy one. You just pick up maple syrup or something called agave syrup in the supermarket. You can also get things like date nectar and coconut nectar, but they aren't as readily available. So for ease, pick up some maple syrup or agave nectar. So what do we eat instead of meat or fish? So where do we get our protein from, basically? Number 4, where do we get our protein from? So in England, things like tempeh and seitan aren't readily available, so it's mostly tofu, which is a soy-based product. How you can find that in the fresh section in supermarkets, or you can usually find it in the Asian food aisle. Most commonly found in like my supermarkets are silken stuff, but you can get like the firm stuff that's already pressed, because I don't have a tofu press, I don't know about you. There's not many of those out. My supermarket just sells one by a brand called Cauldron, but when I go to like specialist health food stores, they've usually got more, and I've had like a smoked one from like a store in Birmingham that's amazing. You can just slice it up and eat out of the packet, it's brilliant. So there's sort of like the processed options, but in terms of like whole food, easy, cheap replacements, lentils are brilliant, and there's all kinds of lentils. You can get red lentils, red split lentils, yellow lentils, green lentils, black lentils, brown lentils, poi lentils, beluga lentils. I'm pretty sure there's probably even more than that, but lentils. You can also have all the beans in the world, so kidney beans, cannellini beans, butter beans, I've got a list, sorry, baked beans are fine, haricot beans, pinto beans, chickpeas, brown chickpeas, they all qualify and they're all safe and they're all amazing. You can get a lot of them pre-cooked, like tinned, like in the supermarket, which is what I do generally speaking. You can also obviously buy them dry, which I think works out cheaper, but you have to soak and cook them. I do that sometimes, but generally speaking, I come home from work, want to make a quick curry, tin of chickpeas. In terms of nuts and seeds, again, all the nuts and seeds, pending allergies, you can eat. So pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, hemp seeds, sunflower seeds, poppy seeds, they're all good. Nuts, again, they're all fine. So almonds, cashews, peanuts, hazelnuts, pistachios, macadamia nuts, Brazil nuts, pecans, walnuts, go wild. Unless you're me and you can't eat some of them, eat them to your heart's content. There's also pine nuts. I don't know if that's a nut or a seed, but that's fine too. Going back to all the fruits and vegetables, there's not a fruit or vegetable that isn't vegan, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I know, they're all, plants, so they're all good. That includes, I'm just going to put this out there, eggplant, which is the American name for aubergine. I was on holiday and was told I couldn't order eggplant because it had egg in it. We were in a non-English speaking country, and I think it was a language breakdown, but I was part devastated, part amused, part angry, because I really wanted aubergine on my pizza. In terms of, okay, so let's go to things that you put with a meal, so like rices, pastas, breads. Let's go through those. Rice, all good. Black, white, brown, wild, red, any rice. Pasta, generally speaking, dry pasta is absolutely fine. It tends to be the fresh pasta, which is sometimes made with egg. So if you're eating out at a sort of Italian, sort of nice restaurant, you might want to check, because a lot of the time they'll make fresh pasta and it's been made with egg. With breads, it's a similar deal. A lot of the stuff that's on sort of like the supermarket shelves, like Warburton's, Hovis, all the own brand stuff, like the normal sort of sliced loaves that you make sandwiches with, all fine. Obviously check if you're not sure, but they're all fine. But it's things like croissants and brioche. Obviously pain au chocolat is definitely going to have milk in, but croissants are made with butter, and I think brioche is either made with butter and brushed with egg or some combination of that. So sort of the posh breads basically, check. In terms of other fresh loaves, like you know how supermarkets have like that posh bakery bit where they've got like the sourdough and the rye dough and cornbread and olive bread. Generally, they're alright unless they've got cheese and something in the title, but I always just ask for their allergen menu and they bring it out to you and you can check. And I assume the same is true in like an independent bakery. They will have an allergen menu by law, so you can find out. Oats, all good. I live off oats. Flours, they're all fine. In terms of spreads, I thought I'd include this because this is something that causes confusion as well. So things like jam, A-okay. In America, some sugar isn't vegan, but in England, as far as I can tell, we're all good for sugar. So I love jam. You can get jam. You can have Marmite, Vegemite, own brand mite. They're all fine, and they're enriched with vitamins a lot of the time as well, which is really good. So Vegemite is the Australian version of Marmite. It's a bit like thicker, but it's still really good. And I've got the own brand of version of Marmite from Tesco's, and that's awesome. Nut butters, how could I almost forget nut butters? Tend to be fine. Some have milk added, like milk powder or whey powder. So check. Just turn to the ingredients, and generally speaking on most English ones, things like milk and egg are known sort of allergens and they'll be in bold. You can just quickly scan. But yeah, most nut butters are fine. I've got a Meridian one in my cupboard at the minute and a Whole Earth one. We have a lot of nut butters in our cupboard. That's just 2. We've got 4 more, I think. But they're both peanut butters and they're both vegan suitable. Unfortunately, Nutella isn't vegan. They put milk in it. Nutella, stop it. So you can't buy Nutella, but there is, certainly in my supermarket, sort of an average size supermarket. If you go to the free from section, there's like it's called a hazelnut and cocoa spread, or a cocoa and hazelnut spread. That's what you're looking for, and they tend to be in the free from section. You can just pick that up. It's also labelled gluten-free. I can't remember what the brand name is, but it's like a gluten-free, dairy-free hazelnut and chocolate spread. My husband used to be addicted to Nutella. He tried this the other day, couldn't tell the difference. So brilliant sort of vegan alternative. And that is what vegans eat, in summary, in a very long summary, I'm sure. But yeah, it sounds daunting, or it looks daunting when you sort of read the big long list of things that vegans don't eat, because we can eat them, but we choose not to, but that again is a separate video. Yeah, but there's absolutely tons out there. It's just changing your mindset and looking at things differently, and you've got a whole new world of flavours and foods opened up to you. So I hope this helped you figure out what do vegans eat, what can you eat if you're looking at maybe doing veganuary or just want to give it a go. Yeah, I hope this helped, and see you later. Bye.